Hi everyone and welcome to today's reading. So I figured I just wanted to look into what all of my single Pringles over here are manifesting, and I personally love book talks, so I figured let's look into book talk archetypes. There's plenty of them, so if you actually are kind of identifying with a specific character or archetype, you can leave a comment about it down below. But let's get into it. So your person that you are manifesting in. So I would say you are definitely already in the middle of manifesting this person, okay? So this is not something fresh or new, or you're thinking about manifesting someone like it. So this could be, for example, if you've been reading a certain book series or something and you've been thinking about how you would love a person just like that, that is already manifestation, okay? So you're literally deep in the trenches already. And the person that came through is someone who is very rebellious. They are definitely a black sheep, either black sheep of the family or black sheep of just in general in society. They are someone who is very, very rebellious against oppression. They are very sensitive underneath, but they are using those emotions and those sensitivities in order to basically fight against the status quo, is probably how I would describe it best. They do have the ability to sometimes maybe bend reality a little bit more to serve their own selfish desires. So they are someone who very deeply cares about the people in their life, but they do have the ability to also kind of smooth talk their way out of things or into things if it serves them. So basically, the thing with this person is that they are so emotional, and it's almost like they don't understand their own emotions very well. So they could have a lot of water placements, maybe some air placements as well, just because they're definitely someone who communicates in a very specific way. So this is someone who you will notice right away that this person is different, and this person is incredibly smart. But even if they weren't as smart as they presented themselves to be, you would never know, because this person knows how to use their words. But they also almost use that a little bit as a shield, because their emotions are so deep within them that it's almost like they just don't want anybody to really know the depth of how much they feel. There could be something really significant. I keep looking to this. I'm not sure why, but there could be something really significant that happened to them that made them basically shut down, where they decided, I'm only gonna let certain people in to my life moving forward. So, and I also just heard this could also, however, be something that they actually did. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that something traumatic happened to them, but maybe they had to do something traumatic or live through something traumatic, or even just, doesn't even have to be traumatic, but just life-changing and life-altering is kind of what I'm getting. But they are really deep waters when it comes to their emotions. And again, like I said, you would never know though, because on the surface they are really calm. So I just see them walking into a room and the atmosphere and the energy just shifting. So they are someone who's very calm and collected. They could also be just someone who is very striking when they walk into a room. I just see someone who's, maybe not necessarily super bulky, but definitely very tall and has this demanding, almost tall, dark, and handsome, demanding presence. And they are, again, they use their words whenever it's necessary, but I feel like if they, when they walk into a room initially, I think they are someone who's very observant and obsessive with scanning their environment. I don't even know how to explain it, because this person is someone who does talk quite a bit and who does use a lot of words, but it's just so interesting because the rumination that goes on in their head is so much more. So I think we think about 80,000 thoughts a day or something like that, and this person probably thinks twice as much, you know what I mean? They would talk 80,000 words but then think 500,000 words. That's kind of what I'm getting. Their mind never stops. Their mind is always racing. Their mind is always on something. And it's almost getting to the point where I think they are so used to this kind of spiel that they kind of perfected over time, that they sometimes might be leaning into self-deception a little bit. So they are someone who could be a little bit of a storyteller. I'm not saying that they're an outright liar. I don't really see that. But they are someone who might embellish certain things, or who might just feel like certain stories need a little bit of extra decoration in order to hook people. Like, they don't really necessarily care if the facts are 100% correct, as long as the story lands and kind of does what they want it to do, if that makes sense. They are definitely someone who would also use that to protect you. They are someone who's very protective, but I think in the beginning, when you first meet them, I do see that there might be a false start happening. I think especially because of this, because you might, feel like, why is this person like this? Or you might be catching them in like a little lie or something, and literally just be like, why did you lie about that? That was unnecessary. I mean, you could definitely have some trust issues around that, and truthfulness might be very, very important to you. So there might be something where you either like go on a date, for example, and they say something that is not true, or say something weird, and you might be calling them out in a playful way, and they might just be doubling down on that. They are not really used to being challenged, and I think you're really going to challenge them. So that's maybe where the false start comes in, because it's almost like you have to push through their stubbornness, but you yourself have a lot of inner strength and a lot of like stubbornness on your own. Like, you can be very hard-headed, and so can they, but they are gonna cater to you and bow down to you. I think it's just gonna be a little bit of like a process, because again, they are someone who likes to be rebellious and who doesn't like to be oppressed and always wants to be on top of everything. And with someone like you, this is also something they would normally try to rebel against and try to assert dominance. But I think they're starting to realize that, or they're going to realize when you meet them and that false start happens, that you are special and you are different and you have this like magic, and you also just don't give an F at all. So this could happen in like somewhat of a public setting, or even if you have a similar friend group or something, where something happens where they're basically being like quote unquote publicly exposed, which definitely puts them out of their equilibrium that they have. They're not used to people just calling them out like that. They're always in control. They always call the shots, but they do that because they are so emotional underneath, and they really don't want anybody to know the full truth of who they really are. And I do think that they are not above using their words in a little bit of a cunning and cutting way if they have to. I don't think that they're necessarily doing that on a regular basis. I think this is someone who, if they do end up using their words in a very cunning and cutting way, people are definitely a little bit shocked and surprised maybe. But I feel like you just have this internal radar, like you're just going to know anyway. You're not going to be surprised because you can be exactly like that. It's almost like you're a mirror of sorts, and you're at a time in your life where you need to be a mirror that basically shows it to somebody that can hold it. I feel like you're someone who probably makes people very uncomfortable and very uneasy in general, because people normally have a hard time holding what you're showing them. Like you're the kind of person that the saying, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and you're normally like the reason. Not just even the season, but you have a purpose. Like it feels like even if you go into relationships or friendships or family dynamics where you didn't really understand your purpose initially because you always felt like the odd one out, you still had a reason and a purpose, and you knew about it after the fact. And with this person in particular, it's like they do the same thing to people. It's just they have to work a lot harder than you, where, like I said, they have to use their words because they haven't learned yet how to use their emotions and to like kind of alchemize that into power, where you definitely have already done that. And I think a reason is also they're definitely probably younger than you are. We got younger, Asian, and piercing, so it doesn't have to be. Just take it if it resonates with you. And then we have Awaken Your Magic, Inner Strength, and Wheel of the Year. So basically what you need to know and hear about this archetype in particular is, because you've already been manifesting it for a while, you need to kind of take a step back and be a little bit courageous and let go a little bit of control, which I kind of have the feeling is probably hard for you, because again, you're their mirror and they are very, very obsessed with control and just being like, just having their hand. I just see them having both of their hands on top of everything while things are slipping out underneath. Just think like, I just see it like a pile of coins almost, and there's too many coins and they're slipping and they're trying to hold on to it with their hands, but it's not working because their hands aren't big enough. And basically what you're being asked to right now is to let go a little bit and to have faith that you are already doing everything you need to do. And it's okay to take a couple days rest and to take a step back and let the greater plan play itself out. So for example, if you're someone who likes to do affirmations every day and you missed a day, don't be panicked, because resting days are important as well. You don't need to consistently do the work over and over again. This is not something that needs to be rushed because it's already in the process of being constructed. So you rushing it is technically just you wasting your energy. It's not going to change anything. But I want to see if I can get a little bit more about how maybe like, I actually want to look into the false start and see if I can get a little bit more information about that. If we can get anything. But yeah, you're definitely being asked to take a huge step back. And if you want to take a day off or you want to do self-care or something, then do it. You don't have to constantly be on top of it. And I just get this, I just have this like anxiety in like my solar plexus, almost like if I let this go and if I let go of control, it's not going to happen. And that's not what this is at all. This is very much in the works, in the background, and you laid basically the groundwork. It's just, you built this runway and it just ended up being a lot longer than you thought it would be, but the plane is still going to take off. Okay, you just need to have a little faith when it comes to that. What do we have here? Okay. So when it comes to the false start, again, it's okay. So this kind of like ties in a little bit with what I just said about the manifesting. So the false start might literally be either you missing out on like a work opportunity with them, or like a physical opportunity, or let's say, for example, you might be running into them somewhere and then you want to talk to them, or you want them to talk to you, and then something happens and you're rushed away, or they are rushed away, or you get a phone call and you're like, oh, you have to come home or whatever. So it's almost like I missed you, but not really. Like I saw you and I wanted to communicate with you or be in touch with you, and then it ended up not happening. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. And a big part of that is also because you have this very specific idea almost of how you would like things to manifest. So you might be someone who likes to visualize. And this situation is basically asking you to have faith in that, because it's saying it's going to come in, but we're not going to tell you how because we don't want you to mess with it. And this false start almost, I feel like, so let me put it this way. This false start does not have to happen, but if you continue down this path of trying to force the manifestation, it will happen, because it's supposed to teach you that you can let go and that you are someone who manifests from a state of just living in it versus having to force it and having to like, you know, basically brainwash your entire belief system in order for it to come in. So your connection to whatever higher power you believe in is a lot stronger than you realize. And this is why the false start will happen if you don't relax a little bit and let go a little bit. So again, it's gonna come in, but it is gonna put you in a place of like, well, what the hell was that? Why did that just happen? That's not how I wanted it to be. So you might be a little bit disappointed, or you might feel a little bit disconnected for a minute, but that is meant for you to learn your own power and your strength and your magic, because you're gonna need it with this particular person and this particular archetype. So yeah, this is someone who definitely, they have a lot of emotions, they have a lot of feelings. I just see them being like this tall, just a little bit more slim, like just a slim built, and very, very magnetic energy, but they do have a lot of control issues, and they definitely have like a warped idea of how emotions should be expressed and could be expressed, and how they can basically use it. It's almost like someone who felt too much and that was taken advantage of, so they learned how to use their emotions to manipulate other people. And I feel like you can definitely relate to that. So it's almost like you see the darkest parts of them and you're like, been there, done that, wrote the handbook about it, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what I see for you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hi, pile number 2, and welcome to today's reading of which booktok archetype are you currently manifesting. So we're going to get right into it. If you have not been in a relationship or a situationship or something with this person before, I would be highly surprised, might actually not be your pile. So this person that you are currently manifesting is someone you have already manifested or called into your life somehow, through like a booktok archetype that you already had in your head. And by the way, I might not be getting exact, so if you want to write down in the comment section which archetype you might be thinking about or identifying with or identifying them with, please let me know. I'd be so interested and so curious. But the person that came through here is someone who, okay, I'm gonna read this in two parts because I do still believe that this is someone who you had a history with. If you did not have a history with this person yet, take whatever I'm saying. I'm gonna try and see if I can read it as naturally, as neutrally as possible. This is something that happened to them before they will meet you, okay? So this person went through a very significant heartbreak breakup that came, it was like fast, furious. It hit them out of nowhere. They did not see this coming at all. It created a lot of chaos in them as a person. It created a lot of like mental imprisonment, and it kind of made them become completely obsessed with just status and almost learning how people operate, in order to ensure that this kind of betrayal never ever happens to them ever again. So again, this could be through a heartbreak that they went through with you, but I do believe that even if you have been in communication with them before, this is still something that was already in them when you met them. So this is the kind of person that when they are betrayed by somebody, it's almost like they lose their goddamn mind. And I'm not even saying necessarily that you betrayed them, but they perceive betrayal the way that other people might just perceive things to be, like an accidental slight or a mistake. But to them, they are so obsessed with how things are that they basically read every action that any person takes as a deliberate act or attempt of some kind. So it's almost like they never ever give anybody the benefit of the doubt. And it made them become almost like just incredibly greedy when it comes to relationships, and just very selfish. And there's probably a huge lack of effort on their part when it comes to certain things, because they almost feel like it's almost like they got so jaded, or they became so jaded by what happened to them, that they just don't see the world as like like they see it as a benevolent place. Is that the right word? Might be. Take whatever I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying. It's just hard to say because like it's so clouded. Like their mind is just almost like a dark black cloud. I don't know how else to explain it. And with you in particular, so again, either this already happened or is about to happen, they are almost like becoming obsessed with you to an extent, which will turn sour or is about to turn sour, because it's almost like they don't really have a grip on you, because it's like they're trying to use the framework that they have on you and it doesn't work. So if you went through a breakup with them, that would have been caused by them reading something into nothing. But it's almost like you had the ability to prove them wrong, if that makes sense. So you had either like a message or a screenshot or something along those lines, where you were able to be like, no, this is actually not what happened, and I stand on business with that. Or like I said, the last person that they would have been with before they came into your life is exactly what triggered that in them, where for the first time they actually used their way of going about life, but it didn't work, because it's almost like they met their match and they didn't even know what to do with that. And I think that was very confusing to them, and very like destabilizing, it's probably the right word, very, very destabilizing to them. So they are the type of person who is definitely like your traditional booktok kind of person, like, you know, obsessed with status, obsessed with like the right person, obsessed with learning about people and figuring people. I don't know why I see this image, but it's reminding me of Edward from Twilight. So you know how he can hear people's thoughts, but he can't hear Bella. This is kind of like the energy I'm getting from this, where you are the odd one out. It's almost like they can read everybody's thoughts but yours. So they become obsessed with you initially just through the psychological framework alone, and not even necessarily you as a person right out the gate. And again, if you were in a connection with them, that obsession that they had with trying to figure you out basically like broke them and created whatever distance would be currently between you guys. Again, if you haven't been in a connection with them yet, that could still happen, because I do see your connection with them being a huge tower moment in both of your lives. But let's get to the, I guess, more fun part of it. What you need to hear, and what is important for you in this connection in particular, is the fact that you are being called to manifest desires within you that you feel like you want or need in order to bring this in. So for example, if you are, manifesting this person back in, or you're manifesting them to change, are you actually manifesting the qualities within yourself that would require this person to change however you want them to be, or even to receive the love that you want from this particular person? So it's about facing and accepting your own demons and really looking in the mirror and being like, am I honest with myself? Am I open with myself? Am I actually manifesting not who I want them to be or how I want them to be, but am I manifesting the person that I want to be and need to be in order to even hold this connection and in order to even receive them if they come in new? Because let's say, for example, you're, doing everything you can to manifest them back in, and they end up coming in changed, yet you are still the exact same person. That dynamic will immediately and automatically flip back to the way it was before, because it doesn't have a choice, if that makes sense. And I feel like you might be getting either a message from them or a message about them, around them. Again, could even be just like a quote from a book that they were in or something, where you're like, oh, this is almost like a message, or I saw it somewhere, that is going to show you exactly what you need to fix and how you need to fix it. So you are going to get signs. If you aren't getting signs already, by the way, you could very, very well already be getting signs about this. So this person is someone who struggles with a lot, who feels like they're in a mental prison, yes, kind of their own making, but it's almost like they feel okay with that. And they are the type of person that will ensure that they would rather betray people before they get betrayed by others. So whatever happened to them, instead of healing, it created this chaotic storm in them. Like, they're literally chaos incarnate is how I would probably describe it best. But they are showing you your demons and your, I don't want to say like negative sides isn't the right word, but maybe the darker parts of you. Like, if you know your astrology chart, look up where Lilith is and your Chiron, I think it's what it's called. Those two would be important for you to maybe take a look and see what it is that you're like kind of like pushing down and not really facing and not really living, because this person is basically triggering that part of you and wants you to unearth those things so you can heal. Let's see if I can get a little bit more about this person. But yeah, if you have been with them before, or if you haven't been with them before but they're coming in, you will experience them as almost like greedy and selfish. And also, again, if you have been with them before and y'all broke up or something, you could be blocked, like physically blocked. Either you blocked them or they blocked you. So that also is a message for somebody. But they're gonna basically show you the worst traits of yourself in a different person, but you see the love and the kindness and the caring underneath. But this connection is not meant for you to sit in it with this and basically try to heal them. It's meant to awaken you so you heal yourself. Also physically, by the way, we have fun colored hair, short and short hair. This could be them, this could be you. Take it as it resonates. Okay, we have the King of Wands, so it could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have Four of Cups in reverse. And we have the Page of Swords in reverse. It's basically just confirming what we already talked about. This is the kind of connection that if you are not careful, it could drain you, because this is the type of person that will like lie for lying's sake if that makes sense, in order to protect themselves, because it puts them in this position of control and power almost, and they feel most confident. It's almost like they are the type of person that will look you in the eye when they tell a lie, just trying to see if you would actually believe it. So they would be the type of person that would spread like outrageous gossip, or has outrageous gossip spread about them, by the way. That could also be a thing, but they would be the type of person to tell a lie just to see if someone will believe it, just to kind of like see how much control they have over others. And again, that's obviously also like a trauma response in a lot of ways. But again, you're going to get triggered in certain ways. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you are like that and you are, lying for lying's sake. But you could be very, very triggered by this kind of trauma if you're someone who maybe grew up around a person like that. So I do think that this person has a lot of positive qualities within them. But I think right now it's almost like they were wearing a mask for so long that they ended up becoming the mask, and they buried all of that like softness underneath, and it's very, very difficult to access that. And I think this connection with you will definitely start unearthing that, but only if you start actually accessing like the softer, more emotional, and just more feminine parts of yourself. Again, feminine energy wise, we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. So this is asking you to show up for yourself in a softer, more feminine way, because that's the only way that this booktok archetype can even show up for you in that way, because they buried that deep, deep down, like way, way, way deep down. So yeah, I mean, very interesting. Like I said, if you have an archetype in mind, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Always up for book recommendations as well. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, and I will see you in the next one.